What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Savage Land. Welcome to another episode of Pallet Picks. And of course, as you can see, this shiny, beautiful thing sitting up here is the Mafex Superman Steel. John Henry Irons. Came from the Reign of Superman, Death of Superman story arc about around 1993. I remember reading these books as a kid, so some very good reading, very interesting story. But let's get into this Mafex Steel. John Henry Irons, great looking figure. As you can see, looked like he's pretty much made of steel like Iron Man. But rather than the cyborg Superman, which I picked up also for Mafex, that had also steel parts to it, what looks like steel parts, this one's very different. It has a blue hue to it that gives it almost like a blue steel, almost like a chrome 38 handgun type look to it. But with that blue hue, it was more receptive to light and taking pictures. As I found out, there wasn't a lot of hot spots. Even though you see some, it wasn't like blinding, like with Cyborg Superman that was almost covering up his face. But as you can see, as we go down the figure, plenty of detailed, has the hinged toes. Feet look small, but they're wide. And he doesn't have a problem standing. Actually, as you see here, I never really used the toe hinge much because he was good to go. As far as a Mafex, he's a big figure. As you can see, his big steel butt there coming through the cape. Belt has some removable pouches on the side. As you can see there, he has a little rivet gun, that's mounted on his wrist, which doesn't come with any effects or anything. And of course, his hammer as his weapon. But this is, that blue hue, that paint, it looks kind of strange at first, but they did a good job with that. And like I said, it's very receptive to light and very photogenic. As you can see here, he's getting busy with that hammer. That hammer also has an extended piece to it, but just like in real life, because I use a sledgehammer in real life, I like my handle kind of short. Long is too in the way. And then as far as this toy wise, it just looks better short to me as far as taking pictures and maneuvering around with him instead of this big long hammer that looks like he has to take his whole body to swing. You see here he has 4 different sets of hand, not including the ones on his body, which are the fist with holes in it so he can hold the hammer. He has a closed fist set, and like you see, like he has 3 kind of like open hands that are very subtle and different. Now, I'm pretty sure they're for some reason, but I just don't know why. 2 different head scopes. He has the yelling head scope, another kind of yelling head scope, and as you see, he has the blast effects that plug into the bottom of his feet, and they're labeled left or right. And trust me, I tried to put them on, and they did not fit unless they were left or right. But the blast effects looks good. His hammer looks good. You can see here his scope looks good. I tried to do a lot of dark shots to make whatever can pop as far as his muscle tone off of his body pop. And he's a man in a steel suit, but almost like Destro, it's almost organic. But in the comic book, it's not organic. It almost comes to him like Tony Stark's. I forgot about that. I read a little synopsis that it would come from out of nowhere when he was in danger and come to him, and then he could learn how to control it. Like, as far as this Superman comic, when I was a kid, I did pick up that steel because I was surprised. I was like, oh man, a black Superman. You know what I'm saying? You can tell he's African American through his features on his face, because like I said, it moves. It has facial expressions. But they put that to toy form very well. And like I said, he's a big Mafex. I'm going to have him later on in some shots with Roadblock and Mr. T from Mattel. And you know, those are big figures. Roadblock is a big G.I. Joe action figure, and he's standing neck and neck, head and head with them. And he's not as girthy as you can see right here with Roadblock, even though he holds his own. And look at that muscle texture in the back, the anatomy that they got. I mean, he's definitely ripped and ready to go. As far as articulation, of course, double jointed arms, double jointed legs. He has the ball joint at the abdomen, you can see there, which if you bend it too much with a Mafex, it'll pop off, but that's the reason of a ball joint. You can just pop it right back on. That's how they move so well in that abdominal area. But of course, just like another Mafex, he still moves like butter. Even that pose right there where he has his left arm kind of bent, it's actually kind of hard to do that with a lot of action figures, just to get that bent that hard like that for that expression, because one, his butterfly joint It's very deep, works very well, just like how Mafex usually performs. And also those shoulder pads on his shoulder, I accidentally popped one of them off, like messing around with it, but it just slides right back on, like almost like into like a rail type system that goes on there. He was very easy to handle, very easy to move. He looks good on camera. His sculpt is phenomenal because, like I said, it's just like that armored suit is like a naked body as far as muscle. And his cape, Mafex always does a wonderful cape. It's very big. It doesn't seem like it's that big, but once you start moving around, you can like spread it and pull it out. Man, it goes out pretty wide. But I usually mostly keep it bunched up, but to be a big guy, he's already going to have a little bit larger cape than any other Mafex, but this one is almost like extremely large. Now I have it like frailed out at the end, so you can see the stretch of it. Okay, he got the big man test too. I've done this with Sergeant Slaughter. I've done this with a lot of big figures. He's holding them up, but he that thing fell several times trying to hold up that Crimson Guard. And it's all because of Mafex articulation. It's such a smoothly butter articulation that it's not as strong. Like Hasbro, like G.I. Joe's cheaper figures are more durable, more harder, sturdier plastics. But he's holding them up, but he's like, you can see his face. He trying to hold him up, man. He fell like 4 or 5 times, but I got him there. He passed the big boy test, barely. Now you see him, got him walking with his brothers there, that the S team, the super team, and he's, like I said, head to head with Roadblock and Mr. T. So he's up there as far as size, especially for a Mafex. Those are more kind of like smaller figures in their 6-inch line, but he's supposed to be a big guy. He's supposed to be related to John Henry. That's why his name is John Henry Irons from the folklore, railroad worker. But overall, I had fun with this figure. Mafex, I got to do something because I'm starting to. Well, I don't know what else I want to get. I wish they would bring out the Superboy and Eradicator from that Reign and Death of Superman line, but I know I definitely got all the other ones. But I might probably have to start ordering from overseas with these Mafex, see if I can try to get them cheaper, because if I get one, I'm always double up with Mafex. I like them that much. But as you can see, he got him here with his team. I got the cape pretty much spread out, and it's just like this is almost Batman type Hush type levels. Not that big of a cape, but it's damn near there. If you got a Mafex Batman Hush, you know what I'm talking about with that ridiculously like parachute type cape. And that's what this thing right here pretty much is on a level, but it's got the wire to handle all of that, man. So the cape is definitely not a problem. Also, up under his shoulder pad, he has those like chicken feet. And you have to deal with Mafex to know you can't really see him up under there, but it keeps the cape billowed up. I don't have a problem with that shit. He already has shoulder pads on. He's a big guy. I thought I would have to cut him out of that cyborg Superman, but I didn't. I just left him. I think it's pretty cool. I think I should just leave him, and everybody have their own distinct way that they have their cape on. Well, like my Dark Knight Superman, he doesn't have that, but that's just the way his cape hangs. And let me take a minute for this video ends to talk about the black suit Superman, because I was going to have him number 1 in my top 20 last year, but my channel was kind of down around that time, and I ended up going with Dark Knight Superman. But great figure, awesome figure. The only part about it is his mullet, which he's most famous for, holds him up for his neck articulation. But that is another great figure in a tight spandex suit. He moves phenomenal, but once again, he can't really like stay up. You put him in a running pose, it's kind of hard because the articulation flex is so good. But overall, he's one of the first great Supermans that I purchased from Mafex. Yeah, I believe he came first. He was my first Mafex I ever purchased. Gambit came first, but he was the first one I ever purchased, and he came a little bit later. But great action figure. As you can see here with a Mafex, you see how small he kind of stands to everybody else. That's how that 6-inch line goes. And look how big that John Henry Steel Superman is. I mean, he's up there, man. He's a big boy when it comes to the 6-inch line. But shout out to Black Suit Superman. You know, on my channel, I kind of try to bring other figures in light, and every figure up there I love. I really do like. They're some of my favorite action figures, and I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. But there's no need for me to gloat anymore on steel. Everybody knows I love Mafex. Mafex is a good line. This is a good figure. If you want to pay $100 for him, he's on Big Bad Toy Store. If not, thank you for watching. Hopefully you had fun watching me play around with this guy. This is the Savage Land. We do this for the love and beauty of action figures. And with that being said, to the next time, God bless.